Most people put off investing because they think it's too complicated, or they're afraid they'll mess something up. Just look at this. One button turns into a bunch of different account options. You click something here, and it leads to more choices and more choices. Here's a whole list of accounts, and this little see all link that opens up even more. It's no wonder people feel overwhelmed and just put it off. Today, we're doing a step-by-step walkthrough of opening an investing account on 3 different platforms. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's make sense of this together. Most people put off investing altogether. It's not just about the money. It's not just the jargon or the account types or the fear of losing money. It's the feeling that if you mess it up, you could ruin your chance at doing this right. Here's the truth. Opening an investing account, like the actual setup part, is surprisingly simple. And the real key is just getting started, even if you're not 100% sure of what to do next. Because that momentum builds confidence, and confidence builds wealth. The truth is, you don't have to know everything. You just have to take the first step. So let's get started with that first step right now. So the first account that we're going to set up today is Schwab. And this is their homepage. It's pretty clean, simple design. Schwab gives you a few options here. Invest on my own, trade with Thinkorswim, automate my investing, or work with an advisor. For most beginners, invest on my own is the way to go. Right away, you'll see that big orange button, open account, and that's where we're going to click to start the process. Here's the main open an account page. I want to pause for a moment before we get into the account setup process and remind you of one important thing. Anytime you invest money, whether it's an index fund, CDs, treasury bills, a brokerage account, or any other type of investment, there is always some level of risk involved. Returns are never guaranteed, and markets, they can go up or down. Before you invest, make sure you fully understand the risks and you're comfortable with them, and only invest money that you can afford to set aside, and always align your choices with your financial goals and risk tolerance. With any investment, there's always a chance you could lose the money invested. And I want to be clear, I am not a certified financial advisor. This information I'm sharing here is based on my own personal experience and my general knowledge. It's meant to inform and inspire, not serve as personal financial advice. If you have detailed questions or want guidance specific to your situation, you might want to consult a licensed professional financial counselor. So for this walkthrough, we're going to focus on opening up an IRA, which stands for Individual Retirement Account. This is one of the most powerful ways to invest for your future because it gives you special tax advantages that you won't get in a regular brokerage account. Now, the steps I'm going through can be used to open any other type of account, so just go ahead and follow along if you want to open something different. So if you're going to go ahead and open up an IRA account, you first need to decide between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. And the difference really comes down to when you want to pay taxes. Let's talk about these two options real quick. Roth IRA is where you pay your taxes now, and then you grow your account tax-free. And the big benefit is that money grows tax-free, and when you retire, you can take it out without paying any taxes on your earnings. And the other option is a traditional IRA. With a traditional IRA, you may get a tax deduction now for the money you put in. That means you might lower your taxable income for the year, which is great if you're trying to reduce your tax bill today. But later, when you retire, you'll pay taxes when you withdraw that money. It's like saying, let me save on my taxes now and I'll deal with the taxes later. Now, if you're self-employed like I am, there is also the option to open an SEP IRA, which stands for Simplified Employee Pension Individual Retirement Account, which is designed for self-employed people or small business owners. In a future video, I'm going to go deeper into the different IRA accounts, along with contribution limits, tax advantages, and more. So if you don't want to miss that information, be sure you're subscribed so you'll be notified when that video is uploaded. So I'm going to go ahead and open a traditional IRA for this video. Now, there's no perfect answer, and it really depends on your income, your current tax situation, and your long-term goals. But if you're just getting started, either one is a great choice because what matters most is that you get started. Okay, so let's keep moving forward with this account setup. Once you select your account type, Schwab asks for your basic personal information. They ask for your first name, your last name, address, date of birth, pretty standard stuff. And I'm not going to show that I'm filling this information out just for privacy reasons. But for now, just know that it's straightforward. You fill in the blanks and then you continue. So then the next step is a security check. Schwab gives you a few options to confirm your identity. You can get a code by text if you entered your mobile phone number or a phone call. So just choose whatever method works best for you. I usually go with text because it's just the fastest for me. Once you get that code, you'll enter it here. This is just Schwab's way of making sure you are who you say you are before you create the account. Next, you'll set up your Schwab login. You'll need to create a username, password, and a security question. Make sure your password is strong, at least 8 characters with a mix of letters and numbers. Now, let's talk about security questions for a second. Schwab gives you a list to choose from, like your childhood nickname, your favorite book, or the street you grew up on. Okay, let's pause for a second here because this is so important. These security questions, they seem simple, but they are one of the most common ways hackers can get into your account. Think about it. How many times have you seen people sharing those get to know me posts on social media? Things like, what was your first car? What's your favorite book? What street did you grow up on? Guess what? Those literally are the same type of questions that these security questions are asking you. So when you fill those things out on your social media, you're giving them answers to your security questions. So here's my tip for filling out these security questions for big accounts like this. Don't tell the truth. Yep, you heard me right. Make up an answer that you'll remember, but no one else would guess. For example, if the question is, what's your mother's maiden name? Instead of putting Smith, you could put pineapple pizza, something just totally random, and then write it down in a secure password manager or on paper in a safe place so you just don't forget it. The goal is to make it impossible for someone to guess your answer, even if they know you really well or dig through your social media. Trust me, this one step can make a huge difference in protecting your accounts. Now they'll ask you for your address details, street, city, state, zip code. Again, just fill this out like any normal form. Schwab doesn't allow P.O. boxes for this, so make sure to use a street address. The next step is optional, but I recommend it. Schwab lets you add a trusted contact, someone they can reach out to if they suspect fraud or something goes wrong with your account. Could be a family member, a close friend, or just someone you trust to have your back if needed. I recommend adding someone now if you can. Next, Schwab asks, who do you want to inherit your IRA assets? And this is important. If something happens to you, your IRA will go to the people or organizations you list here as your beneficiaries. You can add up to 10 beneficiaries, and you can always make changes later. It's a good idea to list someone now. Just make sure you choose people you trust and double check their names and information carefully. Now, they'll ask you about your employment status. You don't have to be employed to open an account. It's just something they ask for regulatory reasons. So whether you're working full-time, self-employed, retired, or unemployed, just choose the option that applies to you. These questions are to make sure you're not connected to certain industries that require extra disclosures. For example, they'll ask if you're on the board of a public company or if you're affiliated with a brokerage firm, FINRA, or a stock exchange. Most people will just answer no to all of these, but if you're not sure, Schwab includes a little link where you can learn more. Now, let's talk paperless. Schwab gives you the option to go fully digital with your account statements, your trade confirmations, your tax forms, and your shareholder materials. It's a good idea to leave these boxes checked. Paperless makes everything easier to access and more secure. But if you do prefer to get things by mail, you can uncheck the boxes here. Next, Schwab asks if you want to enable additional trading features. The first one is limited margin. This allows you to trade using unsettled funds into your IRA, but it's not the same as traditional margin trading. For most beginners, I would recommend choosing no here. It's not necessary for long-term investing, and it can cause extra confusion. Then there's options trading. Options are advanced, risky, and not recommended for IRA beginners. This is a high-risk feature for more experienced investors. You'll need to go through an approval process, and honestly, if you're not sure what options are, that's your sign to leave it turned off. You can always request approval later if you change your mind. So for this one, I'm also going with no. Lastly, they ask if you want to enable trading on Thinkorswim. This is Schwab's advanced trading platform, and it's mostly useful for options, day trading, or technical analysis, none of which you need for IRA investing. If you're just getting started, you don't need this, so I'm going to choose no here as well. Now we're at the review screen, and this page shows everything you've entered so far, and it's your last chance to check it over before submitting. If anything needs to be corrected, just look for the little edit link next to each section. I recommend taking a few minutes to go over everything, especially your name, your address, your contact info, to make sure it's all accurate. Okay, so we've reached the final stretch, the terms and conditions, and this is where Schwab lays out all the fine print. This section includes all the legal agreements between you and Schwab. You'll need to agree to things like using electronic records and signatures and receiving documents electronically. If you want to read the details, you can expand each section here. And don't worry, you don't have to memorize every word, but you do want to understand what you're agreeing to. So let's break down the key sections. By checking this box, you're agreeing to use electronic signatures instead of paper. It's pretty standard. It just means you'll handle most of your paperwork online. If you prefer paper, there's usually an option to request it later, but going paperless honestly is just the easiest way to manage your account. Schwab will also confirm you're okay with getting your account documents like statements and tax forms by email instead of mail. Again, this is the default, and it's the most secure option for most people. They'll ask if the IRS has notified you that you're subject to backup withholding. Most people will answer no here unless you've been specifically told otherwise. You'll also certify your U.S. citizenship or tax residency. This is standard for tax reporting purposes. And finally, you're agreeing to Schwab's general account terms. This includes an arbitration clause, which means if there's ever a dispute, you'll agree to settle it through arbitration instead of going to court. This is pretty standard language for most brokerage accounts. So that's the fine print. It's a lot, I know, but the key takeaway is you're agreeing to electronic communication. Your money will go into the bank sweep program unless you choose otherwise, and you're acknowledging the basic rules of how Schwab operates. Once you've checked all the boxes and clicked continue, you'll get a confirmation message page letting you know your account has been created, and you'll see a green button that gives you a chance to add funds to your account right now if you want to. And it'll also show your account numbers, but for security reasons, I'm not showing that part on the screen. And that's it. Your Schwab account is officially set up. You're ready to log in, explore the dashboard, and start learning how to invest. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. I've shared the answers that work for most people based on common situations, but remember, everyone's financial situation is unique. What works for me or for others might not be the best choice for you. And if you're ever unsure about something, whether it's a question on the application or a decision you're making, don't hesitate to do a little research. You can always Google your answers to get a general understanding. You can ask Schwab directly for their official guidance, or talk to a certified professional financial advisor for personalized advice. At the end of the day, you want to feel confident and comfortable with the choices you're making. And that's what this is all about, taking the first step toward building wealth in a way that aligns with your goals. All right, let's take a look at Vanguard. When you land on their homepage, it's simple and clean. Big fonts, bright colors, and they really are highlighting how easy it is to start investing. You'll see a big button that says Open or Transfer Accounts, and that's where we're headed. Now we're on the Get Started page. You'll see three options: open a new account, roll over an employer plan, transfer investments. We're going to focus on opening a new account, so if that's what you're doing too, click on the first option. Once you click Open a New Account, you'll land here. And here's an important question. Do you want Vanguard's advice, or do you want to manage the account on your own? If you're brand new and feeling unsure, Vanguard's advisory services might feel reassuring, but just remember, they can come with extra fees. And if you're ready to take the reins and learn by doing, you'll select Invest on My Own. This page gives you a quick overview of what to expect in the process. It's helpful because they let you know that the account setup will take 5 to 10 minutes. You'll create a login, link a bank account if needed, and answer a few questions. So it's really nothing too scary or even difficult. So we're just going to keep going. Now, this is where Vanguard shows you all the account options. You've got everything from individual and joint brokerage accounts, Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, SEP IRAs, trust accounts, and more. And this can feel overwhelming, but remember, you don't have to know everything today. Okay, just like with Schwab, we're going to open a traditional IRA account. Just so you know, you can open as many IRA accounts as you want across different platforms. There's no rule against having multiple accounts. It's funding them that matters when it comes to your annual contribution limits. For me personally, I'm just opening these accounts to show you the setup process so you can see what it's like before you make your own decision. Once I'm done creating the videos, I'm probably going to go back through and close some of the accounts that I don't plan to use for long-term purposes. So with that being said, for most people, it's just best to pick one account and stick with it so you can stay focused and just avoid confusion. Keep everything in one place. So once you choose the account type, you're taken to this form where you'll fill in your personal information. It's the usual stuff: name, date of birth, social security number, citizenship, and gender. If you're wondering why they need this, it's because this is a regulated financial account. They're required by law to verify your identity. So just fill in the details, click continue, and you'll be guided through the rest of the process. Remember, at any point, if you're unsure about a field, don't be afraid to pause, Google it, or reach out to Vanguard support. Now, we're on the page where you'll enter your home address and phone number. Just a heads up, Vanguard doesn't allow P.O. boxes, private mailbox services, or rural routes. So you'll need a standard residential address or something like an APO or FPO for military members. Make sure you check the box for same as my home address if your mailing address is the same, and verify whether the phone number you list is your cell phone number. Once you hit continue, a pop-up will appear asking you to review all the information that you've entered so far. It's a final chance to make sure everything is accurate. If something's wrong, you can hit close to make edits. If it's all good, you'll move on to creating your username and password. Just make sure it meets the requirements: 6 to 12 characters for the username and 8 to 20 characters for the password, including at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, 2 numbers, and 1 special character, and no spaces are allowed. Don't forget to check this box at the bottom. It's your consent for electronic delivery of documents and agreements to Vanguard's terms of use. You'll need this checked before you can proceed. Now we've got the security questions. Same cautions here as what I gave you when walking through this part of the Schwab walkthrough. And that's it. You've officially set up your Vanguard account access. Now you can log in and finish the setup. But this is where things fell apart for me with Vanguard. I finished going through the setup process, but when I tried to log in for the first time, this happened. Your username or password is incorrect. Now I know I entered my details correctly, so let's click through and see what's going on. Here's where Vanguard tries to verify my identity. Looks straightforward, right? They even walk you through the steps. Enter your personal info, verify your identity, create a username and password, set up security features. Sounds like they've got the process down and know what they're doing, so this should go well. Also kind of sounds like this happens maybe more than once or twice, and they want to make sure it looks like they know what they're doing. I guess there's 2 ways of looking at it. Anyway, of course, there's a terms and conditions pop-up that appears because, well, it's legal stuff. And just a reminder, review these pop-ups before you click accept. So I filled in my details again, and then this. You must contact us before signing up for or restoring account access. So after all that work, I still can't log in. And to top it off, I never received a single email from Vanguard confirming my account. Nothing in my inbox, nothing in my spam, and it's been weeks. Sometimes, even when you do everything right, the system just breaks down. If this happens to you, don't panic. You can Google your questions. Contact Vanguard support team directly, or talk to a certified financial advisor for guidance. Or you can just move on and try another platform, which is what we're doing. Let's go check out Fidelity next. But first, just like with Schwab, I've walked you through the most common steps and answers, choices, with what works best for most people. But every situation is unique, so make sure you feel confident about the choices you're making or answers you're selecting. The goal is to open your account with confidence. All right, so moving on. Let's set up the Fidelity account next. You'll start by heading to the Fidelity website, where you'll see a simple and welcoming homepage. Look for the big green Open an Account button. This is where you'll start the process. Once you click, Fidelity asks what kind of account you'd like to open. Retirement, brokerage, HSA, or even 529 college savings. Again, we're just going with the traditional IRA, so we'll select that option. Fidelity gives you a helpful pop-up asking if you're a new customer or already have an account. Just select No if you're starting fresh, and you'll continue. They also give you a quick reminder that the process just takes a few minutes. You'll need to confirm your identity, your employment info, create a username and password, fund your account. So now it's time to enter your personal details: your legal name, social security number, your date of birth, citizenship, mobile number, your email address, and your home address. This part is just straightforward, but make sure you double check your information for accuracy. Fidelity uses this for tax reporting, so it's important. Fidelity, just like Schwab and Vanguard, asks how you make a living. They give you a few options: employed, self-employed, retired, not employed. If you select self-employed, business owner, you'll enter a bit more info like your occupation, your company name, and address. This is standard for compliance. They're not judging you. They're not judging your job. They just have to ask. And I forgot to click on the other options to show you what happens, but it's probably pretty much the same. So just select the option that's right for you, and you'll see what info they request. All right, moving on. We're now at the bottom of the Fidelity employment page, where they ask a question about securities industry regulations. And this is something they're required to ask by law. Basically, they want to know if you or your immediate family work for a financial institution, are an officer, a director, or a 10% shareholder in a public company, or if you're in a job where you have access to sensitive market data, like working as an investment advisor or a broker dealer. For most people, the answer here is that none applies. So I'll go ahead and select this and click Next. Next up, you'll see a screen that says, take a moment to review and confirm your information. I'm not going to show my personal information here, but this is where you'll double check the details you entered, like your name, address, social security number, and employment details. If everything looks good, click Next. After that, you'll land on the important documents and confirmation page. This is where Fidelity gives you links to all the fine print, like their account agreements, their terms and conditions, their privacy policy, and so on. These documents will explain how your account will be set up, how your information will be used, and what rules apply to your account. For example, it talks about things like the account will be held in Fidelity's money market fund until you choose your investments. They'll send your statements and confirmations electronically unless you opt out, and that your account is subject to pre-dispute arbitration, which basically means if there's ever a legal disagreement, you agree to settle it through arbitration instead of a lawsuit. Once you've read through, or at least scrolled through this, you click Open Account to officially open your Fidelity account, and that's it. Once you hit that Open Account button, you'll see a congratulations, your account is open screen. Now that your account is set up, the next account is to set up your online access. This is where you'll create your username and password so you can log into your Fidelity account online. It's pretty straightforward. Pick a username, a strong password, and retype it to confirm. After that, they'll ask you to set up security questions in case you ever need to recover your account or reset your password. This is your usual stuff. Once that's done, you'll see a confirmation screen that says your username and password are established. Now you're all set to log into your Fidelity account anytime you need to. Finally, Fidelity will prompt you to add money to your account, but you don't have to fund your account right away. But since I didn't go through these options on Schwab, let's run through them here real quick. You can link a bank account, use direct deposit, or if you switch tabs, you'll see other funding methods like moving money from another firm, transferring between Fidelity accounts, depositing a check, or using a bank wire. But remember, funding your account is optional at this stage. You can skip this for now and come back later when you're ready. So let's wrap up this walkthrough by showing what happens if you decide to fund your account right away. After clicking to link a bank account, Fidelity will send you a one-time security code to verify your identity. Once you receive that code, usually by text or email, you'll need to enter it on this screen to continue. From here, you have a few choices for linking your bank accounts. You can use electronic funds transfer, EFT for standard transfers, use a bank wire for faster deposits, log in with your bank credentials for instant linking, or manually enter your bank account information. For now, I'm just going to exit out of the step. We won't go through the entire funding process in this walkthrough. Exiting out will take you to your account page, and this is what your Fidelity dashboard looks like. It shows your balances, your positions, your documents, and all the essential tabs to manage your account. This center block instructs you to finish setting up your account. Clicking that link will take you to another page where you'll see a helpful checklist right here. This helps you finish setting up your traditional IRA. Fidelity walks you through the next few important tasks. These tasks include learning how to invest, funding your IRA, and naming your beneficiaries. These are the final pieces to make sure your account is ready to go. And that's it. Fidelity is all set up. All right, so let's wrap this up with my personal thoughts after going through the setup process for all three accounts: Vanguard, Fidelity, and Schwab. First up, Vanguard. I have to be honest, this one was a bit frustrating. The setup process glitched on me, and I never actually received the final account confirmation. After going through all those steps, I just didn't feel like chasing down customer service to figure out what went wrong. So I wasn't too thrilled with how that experience went. So at this point, maybe I have an account there, maybe I don't. I honestly have no clue. I never funded it, and I've never been able to log in. I'm sure that if I do have an account, then at some point they'll end up closing it due to inactivity. Now, Fidelity was definitely the easiest to set up. There weren't as many screens as Schwab's, and it was pretty straightforward as a whole process. It was super smooth overall. But here's what I didn't love. The setup process takes you straight to the Add Funds screen, which actually isn't required to finish creating the account. It felt a little bit pushy to me, like they were nudging me to deposit my money right away. I guess that's the whole point of opening an account. But personally, I prefer the option to explore the account first, get familiar with everything, and then decide on my own when to add funds. And then there's Schwab. And Schwab, they were thorough. The setup process took longer. They asked a lot more questions, and it felt like they really wanted to get all the important details locked in up front. It might take a little bit more time, but once I logged in, the account dashboard was super clean. It was easy to navigate. One thing that I do want to mention, and was totally my mistake, is I forgot to take screenshots of my Schwab account homepage. But trust me, it's user-friendly once you're in. So while Fidelity was quicker and easier, in the end, I personally preferred Schwab. I liked that they asked more questions and got everything set up during the account creation process. It just felt more complete. I don't have to go back and do anything else. With Fidelity, I have to go back and click through a checklist to finish things. In Vanguard, well, I never even made it to the finish line. I'm not sponsored or affiliated. This is just a platform I personally chose after doing some research, comparing the options, and especially after doing this walkthrough process. But hey, these are just my personal experiences. Different people might prefer a different account for their own reasons, and there's no one-size-fits-all here. And while I was quite new at setting up accounts with these three companies, I'm certainly not a newbie at setting up an online brokerage account. I have another brokerage account somewhere else. So these walkthroughs weren't a brand new person's perspective of setting up an account. So your experience will certainly be different than mine. I just wanted to give you an honest look at what the process was like for me. Now let's talk about one super important thing before we close this video. If you did fund your account but did nothing else, then your money isn't actually invested yet. Right now, it's just sitting there as cash. And if you haven't funded the account, then the account is just sitting there waiting for you to take the next step. And if that feels a little intimidating, don't worry. You don't have to figure it all out right now. Even just getting the account open is a powerful move. You're creating the space for your money to grow. The most important thing is just to get started. Explore your options, open an account, and begin building the foundation for your financial future. But you might be worried that you don't have a lot of money to get started with investing. So watch this video next to find out if it's worth it to start, even if you just have a little bit.